Erin Rayburn,
Okay.
Evergreen Therapy, owner of Evergreen Therapy. What's the official title?
Yeah, Evergreen Therapy. That's all we got.
So we got, and then therapist.
Yeah.
I mean, how we met originally, I think it stands out in my mind. We're talking about rock climbing,
Yep.
bunch of mutual friends.
Yep.
And then first time, crazy days, yeah, wild days. And then first time
The running. You did the 5K beer thing. Do you remember that?
oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah, and where that's
We were
right.
in Chris's and Leslie's garage.
And then I had the idea, and my buddy Sam Evans and I ran.
Yes, the beer miles. Like you did
Oh wait, that's when we did the beer mile from their garage.
but it wasn't a mile. It was 5. It was like at least
5
It was
miles.
like a 5 because there was multiple drink, run a mile, come back and drink another one.
Yeah,
I just observed everybody.
vomiting probably for me.
Yes,
So
correct.
for those
Yeah, you
listening
vomited.
or watching, that I vomit every time when I do this, and it's called the Rod Dixon Run. So now that the cat's out of the bag, I'll go ahead and admit to this. So the Rod Dixon Run is where we, because it's named for Rod Dixon, who's Olympian American runner, and he was quoted saying something like, "How did you get so fast?" And he was like, "I just like to drink beer and run." So Rod Dixon Run, I think probably started with Joey from Fast Break or someone back in the day, and long story short, you drink your first beer together as a group, and you have basically 10 minutes to drink that. It's a casual beer. And then when everyone's done, we say go. And so we ran that first mile, and you have 10 minutes to run the first mile and drink the beer. But you can't drink while you're running.
Right.
You have to drink when you get back. So we had like a mile loop. So if you ran it in 6 minutes, you had 4 minutes to drink the beer. Or if you ran it in 8 minutes, you had 2 minutes to drink the beer. But you have to wait till the 10-minute mark to start the next mile.
Okay.
So everyone starts each mile together. And there's a strategy, because if you run really fast, like a 5-minute mile, you're breathing harder and you're kind of shaking the beer up more.
Oh.
And it doesn't really affect you until like mile 4. So at that point, you start mile 4 is what? 4 beers in you, 5 beers in you, hit the first one. So 4 beers. Then you can feel that alcohol shaking. And so the winner is on the 5th mile, whenever the first one to get back and chug the 6th beer without throwing up wins. And so that's really the
Without
race.
throwing up.
Yeah, you can't throw up. So
You have to keep it down.
I've been-
Is there a timer to that? Or like, is there like a cutoff? Like now you can throw up?
that's a great question. I
You
don't
remember?
know. I don't remember that, but it can't be instant. And there's many times I was the first one back, but I would throw up every time. I think I've won it one time. But my buddy Sam and Mitch, they can both drink like fish and hold their alcohol, and they wouldn't throw up, and I did. I forgot about that.
I think that was one of my first longer interactions with you because it took a minute to do that, 60 minutes, like an hour or so. But yeah, I remember that. Isn't that funny?
Probably got funnier as it went, and then
It was funny.
Yeah, and then it got worse probably quick after that.
I was just impressed with your ability to do that, and everybody else. I think I was just there. I think I was having a beer, just watching everybody, but I was I'm not doing this craziness.
Right. We did one
because I just cannot deal with vomit. So I was I'm not putting myself in that position.
Yeah.
I have a lot of,
I think that's probably also a sign of higher IQ too, I think, not wanting to do that.
Sure.
But
sure, I'll take that. Sure.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was not Rod Dixon Run, although I'm glad we brought that up. That makes me want to go do one this weekend. Was Equine Therapy. We did a Equine Therapy session on the back of Lookout.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd never heard of that.
That's right.
Never experienced it.
So long ago.
And that's some of what you all do. I mean, it's a lot of what you do, right?
Yes, it can be. Just like anything in an entrepreneur's life, you go through phases and seasons and cycles with the thing you're doing, and it always tends to circle back around. So it is not right now the primary portion of my work. However, I do use it quite a bit with my clients and even my therapist working with me. It's a great way to experience yourself. You kind of can't deny what shows up in those sessions with yourself, how you operate. So yeah, I love utilizing the horses and self-awareness work. It's great.
So tell me more, how does it work exactly? What do people normally experience? Because I remember my experience with it, but it's been 12 years ago now, probably something like that, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Maybe more.
What do people normally say about it? Or what is it that as a therapist you want to see it do? Or how does it help someone?
Yeah. It does a lot of different things. what most people look at me like I have, a few heads on my shoulder when I say, let's go get out with the horses and see what comes up. Thankfully, I think therapy and even equine therapy is more accepted in our area of the country now. Historically, it's come from Europe and out west. It's been a little more on the fringe of therapies, and it's a little more integrated now into our area. So it's a little more accepted. People don't balk at it quite as much as like when I first started doing equine, people they didn't, it was just really a big ask to have them come out and pay me to work with horses for the sake of self-help and self-awareness. That's shifted quite a bit. People are more open to it now, which is really exciting. But in terms of what people experience, it's really different for everybody. What I find, though, working with horses is that the way that they are as animals and how they respond to people help people see themselves. You kind of can't deny what you do and how you show up around a horse. It often mirrors how we are in other parts of our life. And so when that happens, I can work with that with the person. And often the horse really does assist in that because of how they respond to people's energy and their dynamics when they're present with them. And then we sort of work with that dynamic and that interplay to create awareness, find solutions, do emotional processing. So it's actually a really beautiful process. I get very excited when I do it with clients or my fellow therapists, because a lot of kind of these aha epiphany moments happen out there. And then you see people get a sense of satisfaction within their whole being, and maybe even these like big emotional breakthroughs that now they feel like, oh, I can take this and maybe I can apply this outside of here. So it's pretty, this might sound therapist woo-woo, but kind of magical when those moments happen. And I really attribute it to the horses. I mean, they are the ones of how they are that co-create that with us.
So so I've got so many questions. Like, do you think you could take that and apply it to other animals, or do you think the horse is unique? Like, there's something about what would you call it, their sensitivity to our emotions and that sort of thing that's different from other animals?
I haven't really tried this model with other animals, but I do know that horses are very different. That's one reason why we do use horses, because, they're a prey animal. So they have to be aware of their surroundings. So they read energy with much higher acuity than maybe I'm sure there's other prey animals that have this sort of sensory energy awareness. But that's one reason why they work so well, is because they're just so energetically sensitive. I mean, they can feel a human heartbeat up to 4 feet away from them. So
really?
They can sense
no way.
that. Yeah. So
if you're nervous around them, they're going to pick up on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because they're herd animals, they have ways of sort of working together energetically with their body movements. Yeah. And then that will also influence us, because on some level, we're herd animals too.
Yeah.
So that energy all starts to be at play. So it is different than, let's say, like using a dog, because dogs are prey and predators. And they are also, with their relationship with humans, are more pleasers. They want to be close to their owner and partner up. Horses have that element where they will partner with you, but it is a different kind of relationship and a different process of getting there. So yes, I would say, to answer your question, I think that some of these principles could apply to other animals, but we really see it mostly with the horses because of how they are innately. Does that make sense? Everything
It does. Yeah, my brain's flying through this because I have so many more questions. So I've forgotten now, but do people typically ride the horses, or are they just like petting them, working with them, like standing beside them, or like how close do they get with the horses?
That's a good question. Because since we started, when I did that team building with you, I've expanded in my use of partnering with horses to help people. Predominantly, when people come out to do equine therapy, they're on the ground. They don't actually ride the horse. Have I integrated riding into that process? Yes, depending on the client, depending on the horses I have available to work with, and depending on the different issues being addressed. I've also utilize these principles with coaching, with teaching people and horses. Because I do a bit of riding lessons and coaching and training of horses in my other part of my life.
Yeah.
And so these principles I've learned through some of these equine therapy models and my understanding of horses, I've been able to integrate into that process. So when I work with a rider, I'm very aware of what's happening with them on some level personally, in terms of emotionally, relationally. What are they bringing into that ride today? What's going on in other parts of their life that could be subconsciously or even very consciously influencing how they're showing up for that experience with their horse. Because again, the horse feeds off, there's an interplay of energy. So what's going on for that rider might be really being present in how that ride is going. So if I can kind of know that, and I might even also want to think about what has been going on in that horse's life all day. Were they in all day, and did they get proper turnout that day, or are we close to dinner time? Just knowing what's going on with the horse. So when you have these two nervous systems interacting, it can tell us a lot of maybe what is maybe not going well, or maybe how we can set up for success better.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting how this stuff can kind of integrate into other aspects, not just in therapy.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
So I took your question and I kind of went in a different direction.
No,
we stay on the ground predominantly for equine therapy.
Okay.
But riding, again, that can be integrated sometimes depending on the client.
Now, I know there's difference in horses, obviously, but would you use this new horse you got, which I saw a photo online that you got, and it looks downright scary. It's intense looking, and someone was jumping in on another person.
Why does it look scary to you?
Just something. Does it have black ears and black face, and then
I think
it's a stallion, right?
Yeah, he's a stallion. He has dark eyes and he has dark mane. Mm-hmm.
Maybe something there's a photo of someone jumping over whatever you call those things.
Jump.
Yeah, jump. That makes sense. It's pretty logical.
Can we jump?
Yeah, it looked like, I don't know, it's a big fucking animal.
He is a big boy.
Yeah. How much does that animal weigh?
Oh gosh, he's probably, I would say between 12 and 1,600 pounds.
And then how many hands tall? Because you measure in hands, right?
I haven't put a stick on him yet. We call it a stick. He's around 17 hands.
That's a big horse.
He's a big boy. And I don't look like a peanut on him, which is amazing.
And you're riding that animal. Yeah.
Because he's a little more narrow, so legs can look longer when they're a little fatter.
Okay.
That's when petite people like me tend to look like little.
Because the legs. Gotcha. Okay. So would you use a horse like that in therapy, or is his demeanor completely different than?
Maybe. I've used my competition horse. Actually, every competition horse I've had, I have used in therapy. Yes.
Okay.
So could that be in his future? Quite possibly.
Do you think
maybe not immediately? I'm going to get to know him a little bit more because I don't really know him and he doesn't really know me. So it just depends on him on some level. Yeah.
Do you think them being competition horses, do you think that maybe makes them better, more cute and aware? Or I know this is all hypothetical.
Yeah, no, I don't know that makes them more acute and aware. I think competition horses are, kind of like people, they're athletes. And so there are aspects of them that are different than a horse that maybe just, trail rides or
goes out in the pasture and eats.
Yeah, exactly. They are definitely, as competitors, I find that they take to the work. And this might just be my projection. It seems to me, though, that they like the work. They tend to be more, they can be more tuned in. They can be. I have wondered if it's because it's a different kind of work than they're used to. So it's kind of new and there's they're partnering with people in a different way. Certainly, I would say them being in consistent work, there's a level of fitness to their mind and body that probably does seem to be more like a brightness or like a awareness. If that makes any sense.
So how did you get into this? Horses, I imagine your whole life.
Yeah.
But then the therapy part and combining the two,
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Truly, sometimes I'm like, how did I get into this?
And you do more than just equine therapy. You do all types of therapy. For those listening, you all have multiple therapists and it's a whole practice. And I guess just starting talking about the equine therapy, because I feel like it's kind of it's a unique talking point, you know, and so how'd you get into that?
Yeah, no, that's great. And to your point, I've kind of branded myself with this because it is a niche piece and it draws attention. And then it kind of gives me that springboard to talk about all the other things I do too, which is so, you know, with marketing, you probably can appreciate that.
Sure.
So I love talking about it and I love doing it. And I would say that how I got into this. Well, to your point, I started riding when I was 6. I went to a friend's riding lesson. I will spare you the whole history of my riding. But I went to a lesson and it was just like, I don't know. It was like I'd been doing it forever. Like, this is my thing. So it never went away. I bet my parents wished it had. I'm messing. They love it. But I think no one really knows when their daughter or son gets into riding, like the cost and what's going to be, entail. So we were all pretty like blind to all of that in the beginning, but it just was in my blood, I guess. It's never gone away. I've tried to take time off from horses throughout my life and they just come back. I kind of can't. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense that at some point they'd intersect with my career. So funny enough, I went to college to be a large animal vet and I could not pass chemistry.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I just couldn't get it. Yeah. It's really hard.
I feel you. I dropped out because calculus is like, nah, I'll just go program without calculus. Really?
I could do all the like equations. It's just I couldn't, the multiple choice, I could find a reason why all the answers could be the answer.
Oh, yeah.
I ran out. Anyway, so that's how my brain went. Anyway, so I couldn't pass chemistry. I went in the psychology direction. And really my motivation with psychology was, this is kind of funny. This is something, now mind you, I'd never been to therapy. I was like, I think I'll become a therapist.
Yeah.
That way I can set my own schedule and ride my horses. So I was like, this is perfect. So it was really like horse motivated. It's just like kind of scary to think about now. But whatever. That's how I started. And so then I got going in psychology. It made sense to me. I mean, I think being a rider my whole life, there's a lot of psychology with horses and riding. I mean, there's a level of awareness. Obviously, we've kind of touched on that to do it well. And then in graduate school to become a therapist. Now, at this point, I had started going to therapy. Just for those listening that might be a little afraid. Yes, I started going.
Because graduate school, that demand therapy?
Well, in grad school to become a therapist, they obviously highly recommend. Some programs say you can't even do the program unless you, like part of their program is going to therapy.
Okay.
Where I went, it wasn't demanded, but they highly recommended it, which is like hilarious to think that I think I'll do this job that I've never actually experienced. Must think really highly of myself, but I think I was like 22,
Yeah.
I can do this. I maybe wouldn't have done it if I knew what it entailed,
Right.
Naivety is a good thing. Anyways, so in grad school, I had a friend that owned a farm, Georgia Pollock. She lives on Lookout. I think you met her.
Yeah.
She was the one that introduced this sort of equine therapy model to me. And she said, I heard about this program and they're using horses for therapy. I did some research. Do you want to go to a training with me? And because I was, young, dumb, and ambitious, I thought, yeah, this sounds great. But I also had this like weird sense of like, what is this pet the horse therapy? Like I had this weird, like kind of arrogance, which is funny to think about. I didn't know if I really even believed in what they were. I didn't understand, I guess, the science of like how this would actually help people. Even though I knew horses were therapeutic on some level, I didn't really know how like we were gonna
how it would work. Yeah.
Right. And if it was legit, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think I've experienced a lot of what my clients have kind of wondered too. So that's good. That's skepticism. So I went to this training in Florida with her and it just blew my mind, honestly, the way that they obviously trained us, but also broke it down. And I could see the psychology piece really stood out to me around, our projections and our deeper internal subconscious stuff coming to the surface and driving our behaviors and then how that interacted with the horses and how the horses responded. And when you start to see all of it, it just sort of, it blew both of our minds. We were like, wow, this is kind of wild.
Yeah.
And then our wheels got turning on like how we could take this training home and offer it to people.
Sure.
That's really how it got started. And so we brought it back to Lookout Mountain at a little farm up there. And I started offering it to clients there was at one point in Chattanooga an intensive outpatient program for eating disorders called Solace Treatment Center. Okay. And I worked with Dr. Jan Sherback with that. And I said, Jan, like, can I use this in your program? And she's pretty awesome. She was like, yeah, let's do it. So I started working with individuals with eating disorders and their families using the horses. And it was a wild time.
How did you think it generate a result? They seemed to resonate, help them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just having memories of like some crazy sessions. Yeah, fun, really fun. But just, again, people will respond in those situations because there's an element of stress, I think, being around large animals. And then you throw people who are struggling in general in life into that. And then you have whole family systems coming out and interacting. So you can imagine just sort of the things that come up in that process. Maybe you can't, well, let me be a little more specific. I mean, one session we had an individual get on a horse, and it is a ground-based program. And so there were no halters or lead ropes or bridles or saddles available. And this person just in the middle of this group exercise just got on this horse and with nothing. And the horse was 2 years old. And it was unbroke.
No way.
This person didn't have any idea of any of this. And nothing went wrong.
No way.
Yeah. And Georgia and I
The horse just stood there?
Well, no, but somehow this individual got the horse to move where that person wanted it to go. And
she just like grabbed like the hair on its neck or something? Or
took her hands like up on its neck and head, like the jaws of its head, and started to miss.
No way.
And the horse like moved. I mean, you've done it, so you can kind of like imagine.
Yeah.
And so it was.
And they didn't get thrown off or anything?
No. And that was very surprising to me in Georgia because this was not a trained horse.
I mean, would you do,
No.
all your experience, like you wouldn't go and just jump on?
No.
That is wild.
I don't want a death wish,
Right.
I mean, to me, that's like, what are you doing? And so I don't really know what was going on fully for the horse, why the horse didn't react that way. But what ended up happening was somehow we got her off the horse without, having a big reaction or causing any shame.
Because if you like yelled or something, that could be worse, right? Like,
yeah. And when you do this model of therapy, you don't want to, when you see something that is physically dangerous or maybe even, physically potentially harmful, you don't necessarily want to just intervene and be like, hey, stop, because that can create emotional issues for someone, like shame, like, oh my God, I didn't know I was doing something wrong. You want it to be kind of a free. So they teach you how to, in this model, handle when you see these sort of situations, how you intervene or indirectly. Anyway, so we did this sort of indirect intervention to get this person off the horse, essentially. And during our processing as a group, what sort of titrated to the surface, and I don't know if we would have gotten there any other way, honestly, is the group discussed what happened. And what was interesting was this individual did not feel like they were, not in harm's way. They felt very comfortable with what they were doing. And so it led into this big discussion around kind of that person's perception of safety and maybe where in other places in their life are they potentially in some real danger, but it doesn't feel like that to them.
Wow.
So when you think about an eating disorder, like that's very real for someone with an eating disorder or process addiction of, I don't really think I'm playing with fire. This is really that bad. Right. What's the harm in like purging a little bit sometimes? Or what's the harm in restricting? I'm fine.
Yeah.
But their sense of awareness of like, maybe how at risk they are is not is a little bit skewed from other people. Or that doesn't mean that other people's reality has to be their reality per se. It just means maybe where they're missing some information, red flags, or potentially really in a dangerous situation and it doesn't feel that way to them.
Yeah.
Which is very congruent with eating disorders. A lot of times they aren't in their bodies and they don't sense the warning signs because they're pretty numb.
Yeah.
So it created a lot of awareness for that person and a lot of connections were made to, maybe, some of the feedback I'm also getting from these people around me that I have started to trust can help me discern where I'm really at.
Yeah.
So it was pretty powerful, but it could have gone really wrong if that horse would have freaked out or if we had intervened in a way that would have induced shame, which would have brought on a shutdown in that client.
Right.
And probably not really a learning opportunity. So it was pretty interesting.
That's definitely impressive to handle that situation well. Clearly a lot of training on you all's part to not cause shame and to not freak out and because probably your instant reaction would be like, whoa, no, don't do that. But that's a lot of restraint to not do that and to be calm and then turn it into a learning exercise, which I'm sure probably still is in that person's mind. Hopefully. Yeah. If they've gotten back on a horse that way to act like that,
I don't know if I'd ever approach somebody. I'm not trying to be judgmental. It was just kind of very unexpected to see somebody who doesn't know that your animals just crawl on top of a horse's back without any assistance at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of a wild, mind-blowing situation.
Even just jumping from the ground to get on a horse without
even a horse
stirrup
yeah.
Wow.
So it was.
Well, props to you all for turning that into a good experience, and hopefully sounds like one that should have brought value. Very good analogy,
I think what I find with horses and working with them is the physical experience of it just stays with you. How we're wired as people. I'm sure you can relate to that on some level with motorcycles. You can probably remember certain rides or certain experiences and it just stays, it's in you, right? So that's what I find happens out there with the horses is that people, I bet it did stick with that person. So they've done with it. I don't know, but it maybe created some neuro connectivity of, this feels safe, but maybe it isn't. Maybe I should reconsider, I don't know.
So what other types of therapy besides, because equine's just one part of the business and you have lots of different therapists that specialize in different areas, everything from marriage counseling, family counseling, abuse, trauma. And then, what are those types of therapy? What's the typical types of therapy that you all practice in?
Well, goodness, a lot of it, all of it. So, I'll start with myself. Marriage and family therapist, licensed professional counselor in Tennessee and recently Colorado.
Nice.
Exciting. So, what that really just means is I treat individuals, families, and couples. And whenever I'm sitting with an individual, I might work more expansively, also bring in a partner or a family member to do the therapeutic work. So I kind of work with a lot of flexibility with who is sitting in the office with me. In terms of issues that I treat, I would definitely say trauma is a big one. That's why I love utilizing the horses for trauma work. I also offer EMDR therapy, and a few of our therapists in the office also, I would say all of our therapists probably do some level of trauma work, and a lot of them have a modality like EMDR or brain spotting.
Now, what are those for those who are listening and don't know? And
that's good.
Even for myself.
EMDR therapy is a form of trauma therapy, primarily used to treat PTSD, and it stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Okay.
Which is a fancy way of saying we utilize something called bilateral stimulation to get into your nervous system and help you process through stuff that is stored in different parts of the body and different parts of the brain. And we help kind of do some neural network rewiring around traumatic experiences or negative core beliefs that have taken root and are now really driving that person. Wow. So it's pretty fascinating work.
And are you using a mechanism for this?
Sometimes we do.
Okay.
The gold standard is eye movement. So when I first started doing this, I would kind of sit close to you and I would move my hand back and forth and you track my hand with your eyes. And so most people are like, oh, is this hypnosis? It's not hypnosis. It just mimics a state in the in the body and the brain that happens in REM sleep, where your eyes move back and forth. We know that the mind is processing data. So it sort of mimics that process and helps your brain to start moving through data.
Okay.
And so when we're not doing eye movements, what I generally use is something called TheraTappers, or these little devices that people hold, one in each hand, and one will buzz and the other one will buzz, creating that bilateral experience. Some people use something called a light bar, so they get those eyes moving, but instead of using their hand, because it can get exhausting, is just watching the eyes.
Is that going the entire time during therapy, or?
It can be, depending on where they're at in the process of processing the data.
So for like 5, 10, 15 minutes more, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do 45-minute sets with my clients. I might stop it and check in with them. And I have some clients where we keep the tappers on and they just sort of free flow of consciousness. And then I sort of guide them. You're supposed to stop and check it, but it depends on the client, is what I have found.
Okay.
So,
and you're guiding them basically through their trauma to help them unravel like these deep-rooted issues. And so you have like a series of questions, or how does that work?
So, well, let me think about where I want to start with this.
Getting into all the complexities here.
I like it. So when people come to me and they have a problem in living, I usually take a lot of history around like how did this problem show up, and I want a lot of contextual history. So I do a basic like assessment, to set the groundwork. Then when I'm getting more of an awareness of, a lot of people come to therapy and they give you this problem, but the way I think about that problem might be different than them because I'm connecting it to all this clinical information that I have and theory. So I'm starting to kind of titrate information and think through, where are the stuck points for this person?
Yeah.
And is it like a physical experience that they're having in their bodies, an emotional experience? What is actually happening for them?
Yeah.
So once I kind of pinpoint and kind of get into the weeds with that and really figure that out, then I start to do some like memory inventory from that space.
Okay.
And when I start to do inventory of the memories, then I, with the client, will kind of pick out memories that feel like maybe they're carrying some energy, activation, or I've had clients even say, this was like a turning point moment for me, or this really changed things after this point. And I know usually that's my target memory. So then I find that target memory, and then I take the client through a series of questions and prompts around that memory. I get them activated essentially, meaning feeling things in their body. Maybe they're getting a little emotional, stuff starts to, they're recalling some difficult things.
Yeah.
And then we start using the bilateral stimulation, and I teach them how to just notice their experience and track what's happening. And then we check in about what's moving through from a data perspective. And as they're moving through all that data coming up for them, meaning it can be thoughts, it can be feelings, physical sensations, images, memories, any of that, depending on how it's presenting and what I'm seeing with my client, I may facilitate some of that processing by sort of guiding it, or I might just leave it alone and let it kind of move through it. But usually what happens is as they start moving through the data that is activating or disturbing, it's kind of like what comes up comes down. They usually kind of come up into some activation and feel lots of things and move through it. And then we start to see that parasympathetic nervous system come online, and they sort of come back down and calm. And then they start to say, oh, I feel better, or I feel calmer. And the next thing you know, something else kind of comes through. So it's kind of this up and down experience for the client of feeling some stuff and then coming to that calm. And essentially what's happening is we're creating more flexibility in the nervous system around this memory that has them kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And that's why we call it, basically like a rewiring of the nervous system, because that's essentially what's happening. We're unblocking places internally that help people have more fluidity in their nervous system, so they don't feel like I can't talk about this thing, or I can't approach this event because it activates me, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I think I'm being generalized. So
no, it really does. It reminds me of...
I'm like a super nerd over here because I feel like one right now.
Well, I guess I'm probably a super nerd too, because I get targeted with these sorts of ads all the time for like the apps I'm supposed to download to help fix myself. And one I get targeted, it seems like...
It's been listening to our conversations. I think that's probably what's happening.
I'm sure, yeah. And seeing my search history too. How do I fix myself?
Okay. Is that what you put in?
Yeah, just
use that
fix
for
me.
Google Ads. Okay.
Yeah. But like people getting stuck in fight or flight, or having like the nervous system unbalanced where they live too much in fight or flight, so there's higher cortisol levels. And so it sounds like this can kind of help fix that and unravel that.
Like if you were my client, I'd want to know where you're experiencing trouble. Do you feel like you experience more trouble when you're activated at the fight or flight, or when you're like in like freeze, faint, like shut down? So either one of those can be problematic, right?
Yeah.
So depending on where you're feeling it's most troubling for you, and why is it most troubling? How is that, maybe it's showing up and you're trying to get work done. I would really pinpoint where those moments are for you. And then we would start doing that memory inventory. So that's a great example that you're bringing up. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all. That's what I was asking. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's when I find, again, those problem in living spots, and that's what a lot of people experience, is when they're feeling overwhelmed or shut down, we can dial in, like, where did that first start in your life?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's in childhood. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's like major, just life events of overwhelm. Because what happens with trauma, this is what's interesting. When you have an experience in life, if it's not traumatic or overwhelming for you, your brain takes that experience and it packages it up and timestamps it. Okay, so that means you go throughout your day, and then it moves it from your short-term to your long-term memory and gets rid of data that you don't really need for your functioning.
Yeah.
For experiences that are overwhelming, i.e. traumatic, that's kind of like the loose term here. And I mean, when I say overwhelming, I don't mean just like, oh, I feel some overwhelm, but like truly like you go into that fight, flight, freeze, faint mode, okay? The body and the brain doesn't package that experience up the same way it does for a non-traumatic memory. And that memory splinters and goes into all different parts of the body, believe it or not. And so what happens then is that's why people experience, then going forward, sometimes what develops is phobias, or like kind of this generalization of that trauma, where now, they've been, let's say, in a bad car accident, and now anytime they hear a car like backfire, they regress into that memory. Yeah. So anyway, or they get triggered, I should say, is a better word for that. Yeah. So my point being is that when we can target those triggers, we can find those memories and start working, from a different place, and kind of start to undo that neuro wiring that connected the problem to the past.
And you said it's stored in like different parts of the body. It's like outside of the brain, like full nervous system. I mean,
the body holds data.
Like outside of there, and just in the spinal column, or like you're talking about like muscles, or
I have seen it in muscles. I've had a client that did this therapy that had years of just a lot of tension and neck pain, and we were targeting a specific memory, and then kind of randomly this chronic issue, soft tissue issue, showed up in the processing, and through the processing, the tension in the neck and the shoulder dissipated. And this person reported that issue completely went away after that session.
That is wild. I have heard of something called, I don't know if it's the same thing as this or not, and maybe I know just enough to be dangerous, but mirror neurons, and I don't know if this is applied here, but I've had so many injuries, smaller racing, and just stupid things I've done most of my life, like Rod Dixon runs, which are relatively safe, but like this more serious injuries where I'm being backboarded out of the woods and unconscious, and wearing neck braces. Oh yeah. Lots, 30 plus broken bones, 10 plus concussions. And so now whenever I see like even Instagram or YouTube videos of people crashing, like I can't watch those crash compilations. And most of my friends are like, I almost feel the pain, especially when someone one of my worst crashes, I landed on my head and I shattered my molars in the back and my front teeth. And I had to be backboard out of the woods a couple of miles and couldn't hold my head up. So when I see someone land on their head, it's like I can feel it like inside my body.
Yeah.
So I was reading up on that, and I don't know if it's the same thing as mirror neurons or not, but you can almost feel that pain again. And
Yes.
I guess it's that trauma from when
activating what is felt in the body.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, like with the our body remembers things. It wasn't necessarily a visual memory you had. Maybe a visual came with it, but you felt it maybe first in the body because there was something stimulating about that activated that piece.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I remember if mirror neurons is the same as something called neuroceptivity, but that's what makes me, that meaning like it's kind of that, it looks like a duck, it sounds like a duck, it walks like a duck, it's a duck. That's kind of what your body was doing. Like, here's this crash, I remember this, I'm in that same experience, or it takes you back to that same experience.
Yeah.
Clearly you have enough resource that you're able to separate that on some level, but it does still come to the surface.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'd be a great candidate for EMDR.
Keep you all busy single-handedly.
Have a few therapists that do. Or brain spotting. I don't know all the mechanics of brain spotting, but I know that there's some not necessarily overlap with bilateral stimulation, but the way that things are stored in different places. And I think I'm going to probably mess this up, but from my understanding, there's a level of something called like titration, where you kind of focus on. It has to do with eyes too, ironically, like where you are looking, you can feel and experience the trauma, and then finding a point to look at that is calming, and then you kind of go back and forth and kind of create this titration effect in the brain that helps diminish the felt experience.
Oh, wow.
So again, I'm probably messing that up, but that's a little bit of my understanding of it.
It's super fascinating that something like a memory can wreak so much havoc on present day and future, and really your entire life, potentially. And then what sounds like small things, like where your eye moves and these little tricks, like it sounds like, oh, that's just a gimmick, but clearly it works. And it's amazing that these things can change someone's life and they exist. But when I hear about it, I'm like, can it really change someone? For some reason, I'm still skeptical. Maybe it's just my skepticism being in what I do, for a living.
Sure.
But I've definitely read up on this, and it seems to really work. That's so wild that it's kind of an easy fix, but it's just like doing the work, and allowing someone to help you fix it. I don't know, it just seems fascinating to me that one thing I did download recently, have you heard of, like, I'm sure you've seen these apps, like the Livin app, and it caught me because I've been going back on, I'm curious how much you all see this, like the dopamine detox, and all the dopamine issues from social media apps. And so
I'm drinking my coffee.
Right. Yeah. And so much, like, that's one thing I definitely have an issue with is dopamine from, racing and all the high adrenaline sports, and also like, the feeling of winning and wanting to see.
I know nothing about this, as I have like my jumper horse.
Right. But then social media, like, oh my God, that's like the slot machine. Like they took the slot machine and they made it an app that everyone carries around in their pocket. Now we have this dopamine issue on our hands all the time. And so there's apps, of course, ironically enough, on the app, advertising for an app, but they're using a cognitive behavioral therapy, which I imagine you all do something. I don't really know how that applies to what you all do, but it does seem to kind of help. Like I'll go through phases. Like recently I deleted all the apps on my phone, social media apps.
Nice.
And it did help. And before that, I went like a few weeks without drinking any alcohol and been cutting out coffee, been doing mushroom coffee, which is kind of cheating. There's still some caffeine in it. But those things help some, the alcohol and the caffeine. Deleting social media apps did way more for me.
Really?
And I think spending 2 weeks off of those, it made me feel better. Like the small things I started feeling more gratitude and joy from, like even like lighting a campfire. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Where when I'm checking my phone every damn other minute for
who's liking my post or what's going on.
The podcast that I shared,
I do know.
It's crazy because like we're stuck using it, but man, anyways, how much does that come up in what you all do?
Oh gosh, all the time. Yeah. Whether people want to recognize it. You're recognizing it. This is terrible that I don't remember the author's name because we talk about him all the time, but he wrote the book, The Anxious Generation. Have you heard of it?
I haven't, but I need to add that to my list as well.
Can you look that up? So I guess that's smart.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, definitely.
Anyways, Yeah. So what the research is finding is that we're incredibly screwed up from our phones,
Yeah.
from not just like the social media, but like the instant, like that we can do things so quickly and it's not real. I mean, like
Yeah.
making a campfire takes a longer time than doing a Google search to find the author's name, which is, do we know?
Jonathan Haidt.
That sounds right. Jonathan Hayden.
Haidt.
How do you even say that?
Jonathan H. We'll say Jonathan H. Haidt? Haidt? Haid.
Huh.
Yeah, him. That is a very fascinating read. It's really the kind of targeted for parents with their children, but I found it to be incredibly helpful even for myself. And because of what happened, it explains like what happens with the development in the brain.
Yeah.
And with this exposure to these iPhones and these trust me, I love my smartphone, who doesn't? And what happens for us when we're just overly exposed to this sort of stimuli and these sort of unrealistic expectations of life. He gets real, especially since you like the science, he gets really into the science of what's going on in the brain. So, yes, we are absolutely seeing a lot of anxiety. In fact, I think the newest version of something called the DSM, which is our diagnostic manual for, diagnosing people.
Yeah.
It's like our diagnostic Bible, I should say. The new version, I believe, is coming out or like considering coming out with a diagnosis for like social media induced anxiety.
I mean, I believe it.
Because of what you're naming. Like, it's funny you said that because I also recently, before I announced my new horse, took a social media break. And I felt, to your point, like, oh, like, here's real life. Like, I'm living in real life, not always through my phone. And you don't really even realize how often you're looking at that thing. I mean, there was multiple times that I'd pick it up to look at, and I was like, nope, because I was intentionally not doing that. But it was so automatic, which also kind of is crazy how automatic that is.
It's an addiction.
Yeah, it totally is. But it's also that internal cycle that you're naming around like, what does it bring up for you?
Yeah.
I need more of something, right? Affirmation or a sense of connection, a sense of like, I am going after my hopes and dreams or whatever it is we're putting out there or looking at.
Right. I think it's wreaking a lot more havoc and there's some interesting documentary, like what's the one documentary Netflix had on there, The Social Experiment, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That one touched on it. There's another book, The Molecule of More, talking about dopamine. That was an interesting book. I have to listen to all of these. I don't read worth a shit, so I listen to them instead. But
yeah, I hear that. Audible is my bestie.
Yeah, saying like road trips, listening to them. But like the slot machines, 80% of the casino floor because the addiction it's that dopamine that's triggered from randomized results, and it's instant gratification combined with you don't know when it's going to hit. When it finally does, it's like maximum dopamine saturation. And now we have that in our palm of our hand with scrolling, and you don't know what you're going to see next, and it's just every app does it so well and shortening attention span. I
think they say like intermittent reinforcement, which is what you're talking about, is like the strongest form of reinforcement. So that's why, because to your point, you don't know when you're going to get it. So you end up doing more and more and more to find that next.
Right. Yeah, that's wild. I'd be curious to know, like, and I see some data about how many people are actually going to therapy for that. I'm just curious what that would. Maybe don't even
probably
realize
not many because I don't think. This is like a bias. I haven't seen a lot of people specifically come for that reason. That will probably show up at some point of like, maybe we should consider how much engagement.
Right. So maybe the reason's more like depression or anxiety or something like that. And they don't realize it.
How much that's influencing a sense of like not enoughness.
Yeah. And how do you break people of that? I mean, we could dive into the weeds of that because it's fascinating because it's become so much of our life. And the excuses always I make and hear other people make about deleting apps is like, well, my family's on there. I stay in touch with my friends there. My business is there. Like, it's so hard to get rid of it.
It is. And it's scary that like from a society perspective, like that we are we are connecting primarily that way, I would say. And so, I mean, how often do you sit down with people and just like talk or hang out? I mean, that's becoming less and less, I think, of a thing. And most people are doing their relationships through texting.
Right.
I mean, I can speak to open up a can of worms here. Like the dating world, like
Oh, yeah.
we're dating through these apps, right? And then like most people are, so I just came out of this world. Like how many people just want to maintain a relationship through texting
Right.
and not even like actually getting together and like doing something?
And I think there's a lot of,
It's like wild to me.
and the connection is definitely different.
Yes.
Because I've spent a lot of time on dating apps and over the
Cheers.
years. Cheers. That's right. But there's definitely one thing, like you're missing a lot of like just human elements to the connection that's made. And I think even the initial connection of like having that dopamine, meeting someone in person versus like if you're just swiping, it kind of becomes like, you don't have that same connectivity, let alone like, I mean, pheromones are a real thing and like, you know, eye connection and all these other things that go to like build a real connection if you're just on an app. But yet I was reading an article about one of the female billionaires that was part of a Tinder team that wound up starting Bumble. And they have over 100 million subscribers now on that app. And I kind of think that's wreaking havoc too in the dating world. I mean, some say it helps, but it's also creating this whole nother issue, it seems like.
Yeah, I like all technology, right? Like it helps on a few fronts, and then it also creates, I mean, I think like social media in conjunction with that is creating these like unrealistic standards too of like who people would be attracted to and actually connect with, because especially like social media with all the like filters that we can create, right? We are getting this crazy like high standard of what people need to look like or should look like. Yeah. And then you go onto the social media, like, or not social media, the dating apps. And I think, like, I'm pretty sure the algorithm also like filters like the more attractive based on like height, looks.
Put them first, so that way they're addicted to the app. Yeah.
I mean, so it's like creating these like weird societal issues of like, we're having a harder time just talking to somebody.
Yeah, like a real connection.
Yeah, and I've seen it even like in a non-romantic way, some younger people just having a hard time having a conversation with like a person face to face. Like I have seen that one come through because like a lot of their relationships are, again, texting their friends after school and not like having real, like getting together and like beating each other up in the, neighborhood kind of thing. Which is what I grew up doing.
Yeah.
And so like we're losing that in many ways, which is scary to me. But anyways, going back to the app thing, I think that is why we're also seeing people are losing the ability to do intimacy, to your point. So I don't know how to fix it. I just think I'm just like noticing it.
Yeah, like do we adapt to that? You think humans adapt to it over time? And
probably, just like everything else.
Right.
But I don't know if we can keep up with the technological changes. I think that's why we're seeing, to your point, so many issues, because we're just not able to keep up with what the demand is. And I see this also from the perspective of work. I mean, you kind of touched on this, like being really busy and feeling like you have to do more, like, am I successful enough? And getting that achievement. Like I think with all the access we have with technology and we're doing so much of our work through technology that we feel even more stress and pressure to achieve more. And so then we get into that cycle of like, can I do more? Can I answer more emails? Can I make more? Can I go, can I sell more therapy? Can I get more clicks? Go, go. And so like, what is enough, and what is just getting out into, like you said, like nature and just, can you build something with your hands anymore? I mean, can we do any of that? We're seeing a loss of even that ability, which that scares me personally, that people are not able to do things, like physically do things.
I mean, in multiple fronts, like whether it's the technical side of it, because now we see the boom in home service industry and what was considered blue collar industry, and now it's blue collar millionaires everywhere because the demand's so high and people can't do those things. Right. But then also physicality, like if people are just sitting on their devices or sitting at desk, like actual physicality to be able to get up and do things, whether it's run away, go up and down the stairs, it's pretty bizarre what technology has done to us. You were mentioning something earlier before we started the podcast. Was it Hypomania in America? Was that a book or? Yeah. So I was curious. You started talking about it. I was like, wait, save that for the podcast. Because it might apply to me. Unsure.
I'm not trying to psychoanalyze you, but I can't help it sometimes. No, I think because you were talking about caffeine and being up late or early, and that just spurred the thought of hypomania, which is or it can be in the spectrum of like bipolar diagnoses, but it's more of like a personality based instead of a mood disturbance, which is bipolar 1. So hypomania usually falls into could fall into a bipolar 2 category. It can be a standalone issue as well. I'm not going to get into all the nuances of that, but I was talking with you about hypomania because what we see is that people are hypomanic, which is not full-blown mania. It usually presents as like increased productivity, decreased need for sleep, lots of ideas, creativity, kind of max like productivity, ingenuity. I mean, all of that can come from that space.
Yeah.
And so what you and I started talking about with Hypomania in America, the book, is there's a whole book out there written about kind of like the history of this in the US. And the author talks specifically about Christopher Columbus and how he believes he was a hypomanic because he had to like convince the queen in England, or Spain, it was Spain, of like to buy into his idea, this grandiose idea.
Yeah.
And that's how he like discovered the new world.
Would you imagine that? Like Joe Rogan, I think, or I think it's Joe Rogan, does a stand-up skit on this.
Does he?
And not exactly this, but talking about basically the first discoverers being like, you saw land, where'd you see land? I saw it that way. It's all right, we're gonna get on a ship, we're gonna pack our families, we're gonna be gone for I don't know how long, and we're gonna take off. Like that shit's crazy. People actually got on a ship and took off.
I know. And they didn't have technology.
Yeah, like I'm going to follow some stars, and I think and like this person says they saw land.
It had to have been a little cray-cray.
Oh, it had to be hypomania.
I mean, totally.
That is, I mean, I couldn't imagine doing it these days with Starlink. And if someone's like, here's a perfectly good sailing vessel that will make it, I'd be like, I don't know. I need to like get training. And these guys just jumped on a boat and took off. Definitely hypomania.
Yeah, and probably a little desperate too, right? Like, I mean, what are you going to do? There's got to be some desperation in there as well. But I think that's kind of what hypomania can make you feel like too. Like, I got to figure this out, or I've got to find, like, this idea is so compelling. But the crazy part is a lot of our, people like him and maybe other trailblazers out there, they have that trait.
Yeah.
And they do it.
So is it a good thing? Because it kind of sounds like an Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the really successful entrepreneurs, they're on the edge of being crazy.
Oh, totally. And usually you see that they're like extremely successful in business and maybe a little bit less successful in relationship because.
Hey, all my exes, if they're listening to this, are like, I knew it. I called it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to set you up.
No.
You took it there.
I'll call the elephant of the room out anytime.
Well, I kind of can relate a little bit with that because I do feel like my husband puts up with a lot with me. And my idea is like tonight we're going to Florida to get a stallion that, just
a scary horse.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to drive it back. Or so we're just going to do this thing. Spend how much, a lot of money. Anyways, but yeah, I think that, I think it depends on like who you are and your perspective. I personally kind of think hypomania is fascinating and I don't really have I don't say like a problem with it. I would say some people who maybe aren't on that level of the spectrum of it, of emotion or in their personality may feel like that is overwhelming and judge it. I find it fascinating. I just think it's like a very fascinating, maybe because I'm a little bit that way too. So I think it's like, I'm being biased here of I think, because I'm definitely like when I get an idea, I would say Evergreen probably was birthed a little bit out of that place. It was like the ideas and the flow was just like there and was just happening. I definitely was in an extremely productive state, but I don't know. I also find that flow state can be very real too, but maybe hypomanics find flow state. I don't know. The way that group of my practice emerged, it was like, it started with an intern and next thing I know, I had 10 therapists working for me. It was just literally boom, 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 just things fell into place.
Yeah.
Have you had that experience?
Yes.
Yeah.
And and what I started to talk about earlier before we started was I've also been studying some of this, which gets a little woo-woo potentially, but
love it.
somewhere between quantum, with parallel universes running at the same time. And some people have this theory that basically every option that you could have taken lives at the same time, parallel to each other. And then whenever you get on the wrong path, some say that maybe forcing something to happen, maybe you're going down the wrong path, and there's some have theories that you can basically sidestep, to other parallels by making different decisions. Or when something feels wrong, then if you keep forcing it, it's almost like the energy backs up. And and so I've been trying to feel that out, and I feel like one theory is like the less you force something, you may have like this goal in your mind. And if you keep forcing to go after it, then you can almost push it away from you. It's almost like two magnets pushing, if they force each other away. But if you have the goal in your mind and then you don't care if you necessarily achieve it, but you do the things you wanted, and if it doesn't happen, then it's okay. Yeah. That seems to be a better way of achieving that. I'm still trying to make sense of which ones are completely nuts.
I know. I love this. Like, this is like, I don't get to this place with clients until we've been together for a while because I don't want to scare them away, but right. I do agree with you on this sort of, everything is energy, right? And I think that's why this stuff is fringe, but it's not at the same time. We just have different language through physics around, like chaos theory and quantum theory and all that. So I would agree that everything is energy on a lot. If we really boil it down. Yeah. And so how we interact with that energy can definitely influence things. So I love that idea of just and again, what you're getting into about being in the body and how it feels. Because, our brain isn't just in our head. It's actually a portion of it is in our gut. And they call it that gut instinct. That's a very real, just reality of how we have a deeper sense in knowing. That's why gut health too.
That's
why it's important.
The microbiomes and apparently they can control your emotions and hormones and everything. And it has
to do with serotonin too, and the vagal nerve and what's happening with the interplay between the stomach and the brain. So yes. Did you ever look at that website I sent you with the supplements? No, that's a no. That's your homework assignment.
Okay, no, I need to. I did not. No.
But yeah, so I agree that and not having over attachment to a certain and I struggle with this because I'm a very goal oriented person. I like to achieve, and so I'll be honest. Even with this horse, which ironically his name is Oracle, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. The Oracle.
Yeah, Oracle de Rev is the full name. Yeah. So he's it definitely represents a lot of different things for me, but it was kind of this is a great example of what you're talking about. I was kind of right place. Every very cool horse I've had in my life, and they've all had their own specialness, but every horse I've had that's been pretty significant kind of just came along my path and right place, right time. And kind of and that's kind of one reason why I'm kind of excited, am very excited about this, because it sort of was an alignment thing of staying open to right where I was and doing what I could right where I was, even though I didn't love everything about where I was. If that makes sense?
Sure.
And then it just was boom and boom, boom, boom. And so now my challenge is not to cling too hard to what is coming into my reality and my presence and let things flow, right? And not just crunch down on it, hold on too tight. Though I have plans and desires for what I want to do with this horse, specifically national Grand Prix and doing some bigger competitions with him that I've been working at for years, but also being just open to what this process needs to be. He's going to be a breeding stallion. So if anyone out there wants to breed their mare,
nice.
I'm in the sperm business.
Hope you add that to your LinkedIn profile.
Can we do that? Do you reformat my website?
Yeah.
For sperm, click here.
Right. Absolutely.
How many people do you know in the horse sperm business?
None right now, but I did know there was a company I worked with in the bull sperm business.
Really?
Syndicating bucking bulls for the PBR bucking. A buddy of mine got into that, and he had a gene company in the bucking bull space. Platinum Pistol Bucking Bulls was. Yeah.
What a name!
I still actually I think the genes
Great
are all
name.
gone now, but they were bedazzled genes. They would probably be a hit right now. He was just a little ahead of his time.
You have these genes?
I think they're all gone now. I may have one pair left.
This is great. You need to
super bedazzled. You've never seen such bedazzled jeans.
Can you please wear those to
No, they're women's jeans. They're only women's jeans.
Oh, okay.
So maybe if I was doing doing a Led Zeppelin cover one night
see.
as like Robert Plant, that maybe I'd wear the skin tight women's jeans because it would be appropriate for that. But in my normal day attire, I will not.
Halloween's coming up. I feel like this could be.
I need to call Robert. But he getting those jeans. I mean, if I showed them to you, like they were actually really well done. They were really nice. I mean, they were just wild looking. Like the entire legs were all bedazzled. They're really expensive. Anyways, but yes, they were selling bull sperm. Yeah, to syndicate bucking bulls.
Platinum bullet.
Which apparently is a platinum pistol.
Oh, pistol.
Yeah, which was a great name, but apparently there's big money in that. Who knew?
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
For some reason, livestock, horses, all that. There's a lot of money in it.
I love how we went from quantum and parallel universes over to semen. That was the transition of an animal semen, to be specific.
We could come full circle back to the dating world and probably somehow get there.
No. We'll leave that part alone. I've already put my foot in my mouth enough on that one.
I wonder what kind of comments you're going to get from this podcast. I wonder.
I need to get my team to block any sort of exes if they're not already blocked. That's for sure. It's like, yes, I know. Don't need to remind me. Good times.
Oh. Sounds like you have a book in you at some point. I feel like you have some good stories
I was thinking
that you need to like somehow put out there.
I was thinking that you need to write a book, follow the therapy and equine side and all that.
I have a book in me. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I know I have a book in me.
Yeah, I think you definitely should. I mean, it'd help the practice. It'd help people. It'd be kind of a...
What do you think I should call it? You have any names? Platinum Pistol?
Platinum Pistol, that's a good one. Although Robert may come after you for the name rights. I don't know.
Is that Robert
Johnston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I meet him through you?
Maybe so.
Is he still around?
Yeah, they spend half the time here and half the time elsewhere out in Wyoming and that sort of
He's
stuff.
a cool guy.
Yeah.
Or is a cool guy.
Still a cool guy. Yeah. And he's got some kids now doing father stuff. But I mean, I think we covered a lot. It might need a second podcast at some point because I could definitely deep dive into this, learning more about myself, the hypomania. And
you should read the book. The book gets a little boring around like the history you're starting to be like, okay, like, is this really a whole history lesson? But I need to keep listening. I just got a little, does that surprise you? I got a little bored. Like, right. Because I'm that person that reads like 6 books at once because I'll like dabble over here and then I'll and I'm an audible person too. I don't actually read it.
Same.
I drive a lot. So
perfect time for a book.
It is. It is. What's our time at? Do you know? Oh.
About an hour. Okay. Yeah. That was perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to come back. I mean, I love talking, shooting the shit.
I love deep diving into this stuff because I've been trying to, figure stuff out, like why we're all here and how do we get here and how do you make the best life possible. So,
well, I think you are doing a great job with that. I've seen your growth in a lot of ways. It's kind of cool to watch, and years of knowing somebody, watching like their different
thanks.
generation. So
appreciate it. Still trying to figure it out. Yeah, good for you in the practice and everything. It's going great.
And for those, if we're still being recorded, I don't know if we are.
We are.
I just think it's fun to think memory lane of like when you did my first headshots ever.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Gosh, that would have been like 2012.
Yeah. I think it was right when
or earlier because I graduated grad school that might have been 2012 because I graduated grad school in 2011.
I opened my doors for business January 2012, which I was sleeping in the back on the futon of the business at that point. But long time ago.
No kidding.
And for those still listening, I know, right? Those still listening, Evergreen Therapy.
Yep.
Yeah. Look you all up for any sort of therapy and Equine Therapy, EMDR.
Yeah.
All the therapy.
Couples therapy. Play therapy. Yeah.
Yeah.
We love your drama. Cut that
out. Well, thanks for joining me. We'll cut that part out.
Okay.
Right.
You don't have to. Well, thank you. That's great.
Thanks for coming and chatting. We'll definitely have to do it again. It was a fun,
I'd love it.
Fun chat.